What if love could defy gravity, ignore time, refuse to die? What if it wasn't a feeling, but a vow, a compass, pointing true, even through the storm? This isn't the sonnet of a young man in love. It's the voice of someone who has lost, endured, and still believes. By the time Shakespeare wrote this, he had seen love fade. He had seen marriages arranged, lust mistaken for loyalty, and passion confused with permanence. And yet, he wrote these lines, as if love could still be absolute, not because he was naive, but because he had lived, and still chose to believe in what does not move. As explored in Will in the World, Shakespeare had by then moved through betrayals, personal and political, and yet remained in awe of a kind of love untouched by circumstance. He had seen desire fade, bodies decay, promises break, and yet he dared to write of love that remains unbroken. The late 1590s and early 1600s were not kind years. Political instability, religious tension, the plague, public executions, and yet Shakespeare was writing sonnets about permanence. His personal life was no haven either. His marriage to Anne Hathaway was long distance. His life was spent between Stratford and London, between silence and stage. Perhaps he had known betrayal. Perhaps he had known desire that didn't last. But here, in this sonnet, he writes as if love were not mortal. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds. It's a challenge to the world, to the self. In Shakespeare and the Poetics and Politics of Relevance, Dimpna Callahan writes that this sonnet transcends the lyric form. It becomes a philosophical assertion, a declaration that some things are meant to hold, even when all else collapses. He's not speaking of romance. He's invoking something sacred, something unshakable, something we may not see often, but know it when we do.
Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved.
He's not just describing love, he's defining it. This sonnet is a constellation, a North Star, something you don't touch, but navigate by. Love here isn't soft, it's steel. It doesn't react, it holds. When tempests come, it doesn't run. When youth fades, it stays. When time threatens, it stands. In late Shakespeare and the English Baroque, Gary Waller speaks of a new poetics emerging, one that trades ecstasy for endurance. This sonnet belongs to that vision. Love as presence, not performance. This isn't about poetry. It's about permanence. It's about the sacred defiance of a heart that won't bend. Not to beauty, not to time, not even to doubt. And the miracle? He doesn't say this is common, he says this is rare, but real. And maybe you've seen it. Maybe you've lived it. Or maybe you've always hoped it was true. But what happens when love isn't this constant? What happens when it burns too hot? When desire, not devotion, takes over? What if the compass spins? What if the fire consumes instead of warms? In the next sonnet, Shakespeare doesn't speak of stars. He speaks of fire, of madness, of wanting something so badly. It breaks you. This is not love at its best. It's love at its most dangerous. Sonnet 129, Desire and Destruction. Coming next, in Enlighten My Silence.